When buying a home, there's several steps that you need to take into consideration, and today we're going to go over those steps so you're prepared when your time comes to get into the housing market. Step number 1 is you need to head to the bank or contact your local mortgage broker, and you're going to want to get what we call a pre-approval. When I'm talking pre-approval, I don't mean that they just say, yeah, you should be fine. Go ahead, start looking at houses. Stop right there. What we want to do is provide all your documentation to the proper person, make sure that they have gone through everything with a fine-tooth comb, taken a look at what your debts are, what your income is. Make sure that when we get out there and start to look at houses, we're confidently looking in that proper price bracket, and we're not putting ourselves in a situation where we're looking at houses, wasting everybody's time, and we don't have that firm approval in hand from the bank. We're just working off of a, yeah, you should be okay type of situation. After we have that pre-approval and we know that that number is going to be good, the second thing I need you to do is you can either find a realtor or you can take a look at what your wants and needs list is going to be. Let's say we want to tackle the wants and needs list first. You are going to want to go over everything with yourself and your partner. If there's two of you, or if it's just yourself, this list might be a little bit easier to tackle. And you want to really go through what is important for you to have in your house. What are the absolute must-haves? What are the things that you would like to have, but you could live without if necessary? And what is going to be a deal breaker for you guys when it comes to buying your first property? Is there something that you absolutely do not want in your next house? If there is, make sure that's on your do not want list. Once this list is complete, you're going to be passing this list on to whoever that realtor is that you've chosen. Now, choosing a realtor, when you're buying a house, you actually don't pay for that commission that the realtor makes. That's paid through the seller. So they'll help you find a house. It costs you nothing. However, be very cautious on who you use. Go to your closest confidants to figure out who's the best person to represent you. You are going to be spending a lot of time with this person, going through houses, on the phone, back and forth, maybe meeting up for coffee to discuss the way the market's moving. So choose somebody that you are going to get along with, enjoy spending extra time with, and somebody who was possibly referred to you from a family or close friend who has recently moved and had a good experience. Choosing a realtor is something that's not the easiest to do because you might know several people in the industry. First and foremost, choose somebody who does this full time. Somebody who does this as their job every day, all day, is going to have a better system put together more than likely. It's not a guarantee, but those people are typically a little bit more on top of the market, and they'll be able to be there when you need them throughout that whole process. They won't be working another job and not able to answer your phone call. Once you've done all three of these steps, your pre-approval, your have wants and don't wants list, and finding a realtor, then the fun stuff begins. We're going to head out and we're going to start looking at houses. Now, when we're looking at houses, this is the fun part, but there's some things to keep in mind. Do not let yourself get taken advantage of by the way a house is possibly staged to make it look better than it is. There are definitely some things that staging can attract your eye to, but take it away from something else that we as agents are looking for when we go through the house. If there's tons of area rugs everywhere with nice fancy furniture, we might be looking as agents underneath those area rugs, taking a look at what might be covered, just in case there's something that you as the buyer is not really focusing on because you're just enjoying that process of going in and out of the house. So keep your eyes peeled from top to bottom of each room, looking for leaks on the top, looking for any kind of peeling in the ceiling that might be a potential leak that happened in the past, and taking a look at the flooring, making sure that it's in good shape, making sure that there's no evidence of water damage. You're going through a house, you might absolutely love it, but I need you to stop right there. Do not say anything while you're inside the house. In today's day and age, people are constantly keeping cameras or recording devices in their house to listen to what the buyers are thinking. It's not a guarantee. We don't always know if they're going to be in there. Keep all your opinions, whether they're good or bad, until you're out of that house, and make sure you're even off that driveway. Those nasty doorbell cameras can catch you saying some amazing things about their property, or they can hear you trashing that property because it did not show very well. Wait till you're back in the car, then discuss with your agent or your partner what you thought about the house, if it checked enough boxes, if it was a good option for you. The last thing you want to do is go through a house, say something like, oh, I would offer full price, and it's on video. The sellers already know that you're very motivated for this property, and they're in turn going to use that against you in the negotiation period. House hunting, not really an easy process. It could be a one and done type of situation where you go out one day, look at a few houses and you're done, or you could be looking at houses for months on end. Don't get frustrated with the process. It is definitely a give and take. And if it is taking you a long time to purchase a property, you might want to reassess what your haves, needs, and your wants list is, and maybe see if there's something you're willing to sacrifice to get into a property sooner, because the longer it takes, the more the market's moving, and we can't predict if it's going to be moving in a direction that's more helpful or hindering to yourself. So reassess if it's taking longer than you've hoped, and see if there's something you can't remove from them to get you in a better position to get that house sooner rather than later. The other thing that you want to consider is going through these houses. Make sure you're taking your time. We're going to want to make sure that you're not rushing in and out of the house, falling in love with things. Everything you see is very quick. You're going to go through a house in 15, 20 minutes. You're not going to get a ton of time to really absorb what that house feels like. And if it doesn't feel like home, no matter how nice it is, it's not the right home for you. So make sure that that house that you're going to put your hard-earned money into feels like home. Now, once we found a house that you like, we don't want to wait too long to put in an offer. If you need to go see it again to confirm that that house is the one you want to put an offer in on, go see it the next day with your agent, make sure it is, and then act fast. If you think it's a beautiful house, the chances are that there's a lot of other buyers who think the exact same thing. So we do not want to put you in a position where you are competing with a second buyer, or you end up in a position where you just lose it because you didn't act quick enough. So that will take us over to the next step, which is writing the actual offer. Now, there's 4 crucial elements of the offer. As you can imagine, number 1 is going to be that price. How do you determine what the property is worth? Well, that's going to be up to your agent, providing you with the comparative sales in the area and letting you know what those are, so you and the agent can kind of come up with a game plan on where you're hoping that final price lands and what you think the property is worth. Just because the comparable sales are in a certain bracket doesn't mean you're forced to offer that. However, it might be something the seller is expecting based on them knowing that those recent sales are in that comparable bracket as well. Once we've selected a price, we need to select a closing date, and this will be your move-in date. If there's a closing date that seller absolutely wants, it's in your best interest as the buyer to provide them that closing date. If you're able to show the seller that you're willing to work with their closing date, they might be willing to take a little bit of a lower price because they're going to close that property when they were hoping to get things done. Once we have that price, that closing date, then we need to figure out what conditions we are going to want to have on this offer. Now, conditions are typically anywhere between 5 and 10 days when you submit an offer. And the most common conditions that we include for our clients, if they are required, are a home inspection, which I would absolutely recommend you do, and the sellers are understanding that this needs to happen. Now, what is a home inspection? Well, you're going to hire a home inspector. Your agent might have some contacts, or you can find your own, and that home inspector will go through the house. It generally takes 2 to 3 hours to go through the whole house top to bottom, and they will give you a broken down list of anything that they found that was the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, keep in mind, you're going to leave the home inspection probably feeling a little bit discouraged. No house is perfect. No house will ever be perfect, even if it's a new build. So understand that there's going to be some things that you might not be the happiest with, but can you live with them and move forward with the property is going to be your biggest question. If there's something that is severe and it needs to be fixed, or it's cautioning you to back out of the deal, then we need to address that. Maybe there's a leak in the upstairs bathroom that's dripping down. We can either ask the seller if they will complete this repair, and in turn, we will complete the transaction, or we can back out of the deal if that's something that's too scary for us and we need to move on to another property because you just do not want to have the the unknown of what could this potentially lead to. Now, the fourth and final thing we need to have on that offer is your inclusions. What are we including in this offer? Are we asking the seller for all of their appliances, your fridge, your stove, etc.? Are we asking for a shed in the backyard? Maybe there's a nice bar in the basement that you want to be included. What are we asking for? We need to make sure that these are on the offer, and the seller will agree or disagree, and this is a negotiation point as well. So if the seller does not want to include something that you've put on there, we can kind of hash that out with the seller and find a happy medium where both parties are happy. Once you've created your offer, we're sending it off to the sellers, and we're waiting. Generally, 24 hours is what you're going to give the other party to make a decision on your offer. This leaves them with three options. They can accept your offer, which if they accept your first offer, you are laughing, you are happy and ready to go. They could counter offer you, which would mean they make an adjustment to your current offer. Maybe the price is okay, but they want to change that closing date. And thirdly, they could just not respond to you at all. Maybe you've insulted them with an offer that's way too low, and they might just decide to ignore it altogether, and they have the right to do that. Now, once they've taken your offer, this is when we would move forward with those conditional periods for your inspection and for your financing. Typically 5 days each, like I mentioned earlier, and once those are done, we have the ability to remove them and make this a firm transaction. From that point forward, there's not a lot left to do, but we will have a specific closing date lined up. So now it's your turn to call the utility companies, get them all arranged for your move-in date, get yourself in a position where you're not doing things on the last couple days. Do it now. You're going to have 30 to 60 days to get this all done, and then you can enjoy that new house. If this video was helpful at all, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and watch the other videos that are coming up. We've got a ton of videos for first-time buyers, and we also have some videos for those move-up clients, especially the ones that have those young kids, and the transition is extremely difficult. Thank you for watching once again. I'll see you next Monday, and in the meantime, hit me in the comment section below. Let me know what the worst thing you've ever seen in one of these houses you've been going through is, because I have seen some nasty things, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.